discussions, and then I think you can make 3 small words, and we will make a little word cloud. So answer the question with 1 word. What has inspired you from the discussion? You can actually, I think you have possibilities to choose 3 words if you want to. Yes. I see that something is taking form now. Diversity of frames, the project of awesomeness, cooperation, Nepal. Yes, and if you have anything more in your mind, just type it in, and
yeah, I think Ernst Jan wrote Dear Project Awesomeness.
Do you think so? Yeah, maybe he's still out there.
Yeah, or maybe there is somebody from the Dear support team.
Yeah, maybe
present.
What I see here is that people are not only using 1 word, so it's a lot of different words coming up. Our learning is getting a diversity of frames. We'll just make it the time to push in some more words in there. It's a lot of different things that people are taking with them from this group discussion, and I think maybe this is showing something about the diversity of participants who have been out discussing in these groups. That's perfect. Youth workshops, all this kind of different things. It's getting up there. I would also ask you to now, when you have typed in this word, just sit and look at the screen and all the words that has come up, and reflect upon how this framing theory and these examples from using framing theory in real life, how they can inspire you in your organization or in your work. So we'll take just 30 seconds of reflection around this topic. How can this inspire your own work in the organization? And please put that in the chat if you, I think,
Ellen, I am now seeing the program that you're sharing.
Oh, sorry. That was what was not supposed to happen. I'll just go back to the word cloud. Okay, put in the chat when if you have some reflection that you want to share with the rest of us, put it in the chat. In which way can you use this in your own organization, or how can this inspire your work in your organization? If you have some reflection on that, please type them into the chat to share them with everybody. Does anyone have any comments on how they can use this in the organization? Please share them. And otherwise, we will just let the word cloud hang from here, I think. Johanna, do you have anything to add?
Just that Camilla commented on the chat that for stronger engagement among Danes in development work. Oh, now there are more comments.
Now they're coming.
Great. Yeah, better communication, greater engagement. Would it be possible to share a link to the checklist of ethical communications? I think it is possible to share it, but it's Maria, am I right that it's only in Finnish, but of course it can be translated by Google Translator. But I'll look for it and I'll add it to the chat. I think maybe Maria had to leave also.
I'm still here.
Okay,
sorry.
Great.
Unfortunately, no all our material is only in Finnish and Swedish at the moment, but it shouldn't be a big problem to translate this in English as well, actually. So I'll look into this and I'll let you know, Johanna, when we have it in English.
Yeah, great. I don't have any other issues except for that we have a 5 minute or 3 minute break.
I think we should keep it 3 minutes, because then we can say that we will be back here at 2:15. So it's a strong number. So grab a cup of coffee and come back, and we'll have a very, very interesting introduction to the engagement pyramid and how you can use that in your organization to engage your audience.
And then we have,
and
also not just my introduction, but also we'll have Camilla talking about their experience from their project. So more grantee projects to be presented after the break. So please come back.
Another small civil society organization who have done a good job in engaging.
So 1/4 whatever your time. Okay, welcome back. Such a nice music. It's a pity to end that, but maybe you'll have a ending party with this seminar. Not sure what's going on apart from this, but we'll get back to our program now. And first we'll talk about engagement. I will be sharing some thoughts about an engagement pyramid that we have used in the FBR project. And Helena will perhaps help me by sharing the presentation. Thank you. So great, thank you. So in the FBR,
you go, sorry.
Thank you. In the FBR project, we wanted to move from awareness to engagement, and or from information to action. And we didn't want to just say that we have engaged people. We also wanted to look into what it actually means, because it was also difficult at the beginning for us to communicate what we mean by engagement. So we needed a tool to somehow verbalize the ideas that we have about what we mean by engagement. And this is from the Dear Support team paper, Quantifying People and Groups Reached and Actively Engaged by Dear Projects. And this is what we used with our grantees. We thought obviously there are 7 levels of engagement, as you can see from the picture. The level 0 is a consumer, and it means that you're just exposed to some information and not necessarily haven't even somehow looked into what is going on. So this is something that we didn't really focus so much in the FBR, but we did focus in the rest of the levels, and we grouped them into informed and engaged. And this is what we also asked our grantees to report on. They were able to also to use their own, this was not a requirement for them to use. We only asked them to report engaged and informed citizens, so to say. So because we are the objective of the project was to sorry, my thought was cut. Yeah, the idea was to move from only awareness to engagement, and not be too like we didn't force the grantees to report on the different levels, but just from the two different kind of levels, so engagement and information. Sometimes it's really hard to say what is information and what is engaging. So we talked about engaging being something that really makes person to be act or somehow change their behavior, or even change someone else's behavior, or actively looking for new solutions to the issues raised in the project. So I will just go quickly through what the different levels mean. I will not be focusing on the level 0 because for us it was not so interesting. But the first level is the spectator or aware. So it's the person who would be aware of the action and the issue that it's concerned with. It can be like a one-off situation, a visit to the project website or blog or Facebook page, or just access to some kind of piece of article. And this is obviously the biggest number of people. As you can see that there is the vertical and then there is the horizontal line in the engagement. So the biggest group of people is at the bottom of the pyramid and the smallest number of people is at the top of the pyramid. Level 2 is follower or interested. For example, is interested in the issue and the action and is looking for information, also is in the contact with the project or the program. Level 3 is a supporter that agrees and expresses support for at least parts of the action and maybe is carrying on a small action or, so for example, signs a petition or endorses or sharing information. And level 4 is activist, and that is committed to parts of the action and is participating, for example, in a workshop or a conference, attending events. Level 5 is multiplier, so someone who is committed to the action and promotes it to others as well. And level 6 is the innovator who is committed to the action and the issues and actually is also coming up with new ideas for its promotion. So that is the smallest group of people, and we found examples in our grantee projects. We found examples of in each level. We were actually looking into that in our partner meeting. For example, an engagement could be for I was just looking into the examples from Finland. So it could be making that, for example, giving a material to teachers is not necessarily engaging them, but giving them a place and opportunity to reflect on how they would be using this in their own work is already engaging. So that's sort of the difference between informing and engagement. So it's the action and some kind of change that can be seen in the thinking or in the attitudes or behavior of the person. Can you please get the next slide, please? So this photo is actually from our partner meeting where we were looking for some examples of the engagement activities in the grantee projects in the different European countries. So the grantees had an opportunity to define themselves what is engagement in their project. So you didn't say that this is and this is not, because it also depends on the context and in the target group and the whole system and the logic of the project. But it can, for example, be enabling target groups and engaging target groups and enabling them to become change agents. For example, journalists or teachers or volunteers or students of journalism or social work, for example. Another way is to tailor make the messages to engage target groups on a deeper level. For example, we had projects where medical doctors were writing articles to other medical doctors about sustainable development goals. So we see that it's going into so having the shared language and the shared context and concepts is something that can help in engagement. And then there was another example of construction site workers, of students of construction were doing some project and seeing how, for example, things were done in other countries. And then there were the examples of innovative approaches to engage new groups that have not necessarily been interested in engaging in global citizenship education activities. So these are the kind of levels that we identified in the engagement theory in our project. So we were not so interested in just seeing a large number of a reach, like a huge outreach, but we also wanted to see the change and see what kind of change has happened and what kind of engagement has happened. If you have any questions about our approach or the examples, please put them in the chat. But other than that, I think I will now give the floor to Camille,
Yes.
who will be talking about their experience also from the engagement
I can say some words first. I think okay, Camilla will be ready in a few seconds.
Yes, I can see you.
Yes, she is making herself into the chair. What is important here is that we have had many. What is also important is that we have had a lot of reflection of what is information informed and what is an engaged target group, and we really have discussed this, that the one of them does not lead to another, that it's two different kind of how to reach your audience. You can inform them about something, or you can engage them deeply in something. And also we have had a lot of discussion about this pyramid, how it's you can move back and forth, but it's not necessarily a success criteria to reach the highest level, because an organization or a campaign will need to have like volunteers in all kind of different layers in this pyramid, and the campaign will also need to reach in different levels to be successful. But now we'll have an example from the dumping ground. Yes, Camilla, take the floor.
Thank you so much, Helene, and thank you also so much, Joanna, and thank for inviting 100% for the children to be part of this today. This is exciting. We are a small civil society organization here in Denmark, and we work with marginalized youth in Ghana and in Kenya. And part of the group that we work with are youth living in dumping grounds. We've been doing this work for about 10 years, and we have been discussing over the years in the organization how can we frame this differently. Is there a different story that we could tell about these children that we meet, children and youth that we meet almost on a daily basis? So when this opportunity came, it was great to be able to tell stories with these children, with this youth, that is much more rich in context than what we often see, especially when it has to do with children living on dumping grounds. So we did this project called Youth Portraits from the Dumping Grounds, which is a photo book where we engaged students from the visual arts department at the University of Copenhagen. And what was important about the pictures was that they were designed by the youth themselves. So instead of taking pictures of them in different situations, we actually said to them, where would you like to have your picture taken? So some of them, as you see the beautiful young women on the photograph, would like to be together in a group. Some wanted to go to the beach. Some wanted to show where they work. So we had really a very diverse representation of pictures from this group. So the photo book was one thing. And then as the second thing, what we wanted to do with this project was that we wanted to do educational material for the University College in Copenhagen. So this is the university that educates primarily social workers. And we had worked in the organization with social workers where we sent them out to our projects in Ghana and in Kenya over the years. And so we knew from our discussions with that university and the management at that university that they didn't know very much about the SDGs, about development work, that this is not something that they incorporate in their education. So we wanted to do that as well with this project. So if I can have the next slide, please, Helena. So who did we engage in this project? We engaged, as I mentioned, students from the University College in Copenhagen. And the way we did it was that we had 4 interns that were present with our partner in Ghana. These young people here from Ghana, they're street youth, children living on the streets in Accra in Ghana. So we had these 4 Danish interns who were there present doing a series of workshops. So that could be on gender issues, that could be on domestic violence, it could be on reproductive health. We had a different thematics for the workshops, and then we got the Danish social workers involved with the street youth themselves. And this is an important point because it actually meant that later on in the process, a lot of the educational material that was developed was based on case studies that the Danish social workers helped develop along with our partners. We also engaged, obviously, visual art students from the University of Copenhagen. We knew that we had to have some really strong people with strong competencies in order to do their photo book well. So we had them travel to Ghana along with a journalist as well, and then they took pictures. They followed these street youth around, and then they took pictures of them as the student, where the student wanted to be portrayed. Thirdly, the people we engaged were the greater Danish public, because the photo book, when it came out, we had entered into partnership, and I think this is also important, is that we had entered into partnership with an editor who was really specialized in photo editing. And so he was able to really produce this in a beautiful way, and that meant that it got approved by the Danish libraries to be, now it's a part of public libraries in Denmark, where people can go in, the Danish public can go in, and they can borrow the book, bring it home, and bring it back. And people actually do that. So we managed to, you can say, engage people on different levels, some very directly, some through educational material, and some through the libraries. So if I can have the next one. So how did we engage? I think one of the things that when we talk to the students, especially the Danish students afterwards, is that they felt a strong identification through the photo book and through the corresponding stories, because I think with every photo in the photo book there is a corresponding story of the person portrayed that really gives a very different image of what it means to be a young person on the streets. They talk about their aspirations, they talk about love, they talk about dreams, they talk about many different things that resonated with the Danish social workers who were present. And coming back to Denmark, what they developed, because the students, in collaboration with the management at the University College and 100% for the children, actually developed this educational material with a lot of case stories. And what they said consistently, it was identification for them. And so this this educational material that they produced are now being taught for first-year students at the university college, and they have integrated it into their overall material. So it's going to be continued to be educated for years to come. Obviously, also a strong involvement of Reframe Voices from the Global South was the key to engage. I think what the Danish students who were in Ghana, but also afterwards the students who have received education, what they see is that they recognize themselves in the voices from the Global South, and they see something completely different than you would have seen just looking at maybe a young person on a dumping ground. So if I can have the, yeah. So yes, and I think what worked in terms of the recipients, I think I've answered that already. I think what was important for us was really to have a direct involvement of Danish students, both in terms of doing the empirical work, the workshops in Ghana, but also, as I said before, in terms of producing the educational material. What also worked very well was that we had a journalist that traveled with the students who were able to really present, I think, the stories that she heard in a very raw, but also in a very authentic way. She wrote it down the way they told it, basically. So I think that was an important point also. And then finally, the case material that is based on real stories, which is really the foundation of the educational material being taught currently. So if I can have the next slide, Helena. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Camilla.
Back to you, Jan.
Oh, did you say something, Helena?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Maybe you had
Camilla
a question
also.
in mind.
No, I think I'll let you choose the questions if you have one, or make the audience come up with some comments and questions in the chat, maybe.
There is actually a comment in the chat. Krista Pruski is saying that that's really great that the education material is being used later on as well. If there are any other questions or comments, we are happy to hear them. Yes, Harmjan is asking if the materials are available online. Maybe you can.
Sure, yes, I'll answer that.
Yeah.
Yes, they are available online. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can share the link in the chat.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay, great. Next, don't be afraid just because you see the word exercise on the on the screen. This one will be an individual exercise. We have talked about engagement, and I'm so proud of this. I have built an exercise engagement pyramid in Mural, which I just sent to Helene in private chat, but now I will share it to you as well in the chat. So I have shared the link to Mural. Please join. I would love to hear your examples on what kind of engaging activities you have identified in your projects or in your campaigns. It would be great to build an engagement pyramid to see some examples of engaging activities on different levels. You can add sticky notes on the background by double clicking on the background, and zoom in by scrolling your mouse or using laptop touchpad with 2 fingers. So you can zoom in and out. It's a huge Canva that. So if you think that the post-its are very small, just zoom in and add your own post-it sticky notes. So write on the sticky notes your ways of engagement and think of which level it belongs to in the pyramid. So we'll give you some minutes to build, and I would love to see many sticky notes on the background, and to be able to share our in this session the pyramid that we will together build. If you have any technical problems, you can't access the mural, or you don't know what to do, please tell us and we'll help you. But other than that, I think we'll be silent for some 5 minutes and let you add your examples on the different levels. So we will be co-creating an engagement pyramid for all of us to use at later stage.
Can I say something, Johanna? Or should we just, okay. I think I was just sitting here reflecting, and now you have to listen to my reflection. But this example that 100% from the children that Camilla just presented, I think that's a perfect example of somebody who worked a different layer within the same project, both informing people like in the bottom, making like a common information to the public about life in Ghana, and also on a higher level of this pyramid, involving volunteer in collecting the stories from Ghana and making them even more engaged in how to tell the message to more people. I don't know if that makes any sense, Camilla, to you also, but I was just reflecting that this can work on many levels.
Sure, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think individual people were also differently engaged at different points of the process. And I think that's also a point that you can start as a group where you're learning a little bit more. For some of the social workers, it was a first time experience going to Africa, and so they had a more observant role in the beginning. But then when they came back to Denmark with the stories and with the pictures, they were really highly engaged in creating this material and spent quite a lot of time on it, 2-3 months developing it. So I think you're absolutely right. I think for a project and for individuals involved, there can be different levels and different types of engagement at different stages, for sure.
Thank you for elaborating.
Helena, do you think we could maybe start picking some examples from the pyramid? I can see then there is still a lot of action going on, but please go on and just keep adding your examples in the pyramid, and I'll download it after this session, so you can still keep adding your examples. But we'll start and just have a look at the pyramid, and we'll be just reflecting and commenting on some of the ideas. Would you like to start, Helena? Would you like to start from the bottom or the top of the pyramid?
My eyes are not strong enough to see this, and I'm not an expert in murals, so I think you should start.
You can just zoom in and out. But yeah, maybe I will start just, I was looking at the bottom of the pyramid, and actually at the level 0 consumer level, I see that there is somebody wrote that people who know we exist. That's actually, I think that's a good one, that people actually even know that we exist. Did you manage to zoom, or should I keep talking?
Yes, I managed to zoom, but yes, I can.
Maybe just if you see something interesting, you can find it out. Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just continue, Johanna.
Okay. Well, on the level 1, obviously, a lot of spectators from the film. There is a film festival, following on social media, and documentary films, storytelling performances. I think I've participated in a storytelling performance in one of the FWR grantees event.
Mm.
And the level 2 followers, social media campaign, subscribers in newsletters.
Yes, and that must be social. I would imagine that it would be social media campaign where people submit to the news and get informed over time and about different things. So.
Yeah, or just like follow a social media channel, but not necessarily react or comment on certain things. But then on the level supporters, people donating money to our cause, that's a good one. It could be also on the activist level, depending on what else is involved in the donating. Addressing personal pertinence or social group pertinence. Yeah. And on the activist level, student workshop to educate about the SDGs. Members of working groups for policy and advocacy work. And on the multiplier level, teacher trainings, train the trainers events. And on the level 6, innovator, co-creating material with educators, journalists writing stories in a constructive way about your topic. Yeah, these were just some of the examples. Now I have now pointed out there are lots of great examples. I'm happy to see that so many of you participated in building our engagement pyramid. So I will share this photo with you. I think there will be a folder for all the material used in the workshops that will be shared with the participants. Please correct me, Ellen, if I'm talking nonsense. Yeah. But other than that, I think we had Helen, would you like to say something?
No.
Yes.
You just.
I just keep doing
going.
what I.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I would like to thank you all for participating in this framing and engaging session. Me and Helena, at least, we had a lot of fun, and it was nice to share our experiences. I would like to thank our guest speakers, Camilla, Maria, and Mara, for participating and sharing your experiences, and also Ernst Jan, our colleague, to talk about framing. And I saw some familiar faces and names in the participant list, and I know that there were some other FVR grantees as well present. So I don't think there is enough. There has been too many occasions where we have been able to thank you for participating in the project as well. And thank you all other interested people. I hope you got some interesting viewpoints from this session. Helena just shared a link to a handout that we have specifically prepared for this session. So please go on and see all the nice toolkits and materials that we have done in the project as a FVR project.
Yes, and these tools are exactly what they are. They are tools, so you can use them in different settings, and you don't need to have a diagram or anything. This is different tools on how to engage people. We also have a tool on how to measure change and monitor your project while doing development education work or global citizen education. Yeah. So
please go on and click open the handout, and we'll probably see you somewhere at some time, hopefully also face to face. Thank you. And thank you, Helena, for facilitating this session with me.
Thank you fun. Too. Always a pleasure to see you, Johanna.
Yeah, you too, Helena. I miss you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, Bridge 47.
Thank you both for leading us through this session. I think it was extremely interesting. I hope it was as interesting for everyone as it was for me. Really being creative in finding ways how to more meaningfully engage with our audiences and citizens is really key to make our work more impactful, and this is an ever relevant and crucial topic. So I really enjoyed and got so much input. So thank you a lot. Maybe I would just mention that now there will be a half-an-hour break, and whoever is interested, at 3:30 Central European Time, we will have the last session of the day run by Vanessa Andreotti and the Gesturing Towards Decolonial Futures Collective, and they will do an interesting educational experiment called Education 2048. So if you are still around and if you're not so tired, we will be very, very happy to see you there. Otherwise, thank you all for joining and hope to see you soon. Thank you.